this interesting little walkway here. I'll look out this way. So we're gonna look back. How's that? It has a little bit of wire on top, but it's not raised or anything. I think it's more electrical that they're not using for these vines mostly. Enjoy. This is an amazing view. I'm just gonna do a walk onto the view. Feeling a little bit better. I had to smoke some weed and calm down. Like, holy shit. Sometimes I'm just so fucking miserable from the world. Just like my predecessor, Dan Hopkins from the courthouse, is legal secretary from the Crown's office, which I am the Crown, but it's the office of the Crown. Her husband Dan was like my adopted dad for a while from the Gypsy Wheelers Bike Club, who's the sergeant of arms. And yeah, he was always miserable too, but I find like the world just makes me so fucking miserable from all this shit. Have a look at that wonderful view. Hello. Hey. Sometimes I just hate everybody. Can't help it. I've just been put through so much shit. Sometimes I just fucking hate the world. You know, when I realized I wasn't forgiven from all the churches when they all turned on me with Kathy, like, for any of my shit in my lifetime, it's like, fuck them then. I was a missionary volunteer for almost 17 years. And a trained one. They trained me in prison, the Gospel Echoes Outreach Team. If you go back into my old channel, Danny Ackerman from Kelowna, Sir Daniel Ackerman, you can see where I was actually, videos of my testimony video. You can see where I was actually trained in prison to be a missionary by the prison chaplain. I just don't feel it anymore. Like, all those people, basically every single church in Edson, Alberta turned on me, right? And labeled me names for no reason. And banned me from the church. I'd only been in 2 churches. That's all it took. And then I found out when I got back here, my grandma's church was out there in Alberta meeting with all the other churches in Alberta, handing out gifts and money. So we had a falling out years ago. So, you know, I don't believe in forgiveness from churches. I think they're just full of shit. I believe there's forgiveness from God, but don't believe in churches. Look how amazing these stairs are. They go right up the side of the hill and they go all the way down. I've been coming here since I was a teenager to smoke weed and hang out with my skater friends. We've actually like tried to skate these ruts on the side, and we tried to skate down on these rough things too, until we wiped out a few times. And when you wipe out, oh my god, it's a bad wipeout on this thing. It's so steep. But we tried to skateboard it, and we used to do rail slides and jump up and hit the bars with our rails, because there wasn't a skate park at that time, so skating wasn't done just in the park like kids today. We actually skated on the street more. Pretty long stairs, eh? So yeah, that's what we used to do. Some fucking days I just hate the world. Oh, almost down. beautiful mountains. So the Canada's beautiful land. So then when it gets 51st stated and handed over, and I know they don't want people, any of these people around to vote after. You're gonna get rid of all of them. I understand they're just too left. I know that's what the right wing is talking about, is like pretty much beating the fuck out of every fucking liberal here. And maybe to death. Because they don't want them around. It's pretty much going to be a war between liberals and right-wing Republicans. And I mean, it'll come down to who has more ammunition and guns in the end and who's tougher. So between the left and the right and who runs what. But my family have both Democrats and Republicans. We have Senator Ackerman and then we had Congressman Ackerman. See? All the way up. Pretty heavy duty, right at the side of a hill. And yeah. We'll go down this way. So yeah, I don't know. The shift is going to be interesting though. Like when they take over and it shifts into America, these people aren't as armed as the Americans are, and they have like 5-shot magazines in most of their guns, and maybe their shotgun holds 3 compared to an American shotgun which holds like 28 or 30, and they're just going to get themselves killed to start lipping off. And then as soon as they start lipping off, I bet the American public alone could just obliterate this place. They have a right to defend themselves with guns. So, and they have right to open carry assault rifles and handguns. And with a permit, they can conceal carry and they can shoot someone in self-defense. It's perfectly legal to shoot someone in America. If you have the permit to do it too, it's even more. But open carry is quite common, and having a loaded 30-shot magazine or bigger is more common. In Canada, like, a handgun can have, I think, 9 or 10 rounds, and a rifle can have 5, I think, unless it's a 22 and then it's unlimited. But yeah, but everything else is limited to 5. All the center shot cartridges are 5 shots, and the rimfire are unlimited. But yeah, limited only by the size of the magazine you can buy for the gun. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting fight when they actually take over. Like, I can foresee, like, when America takes over Canada under 51st state, a lot of Canadian people are not gonna like that, and they're gonna want to pick a fight. And when they do pick a fight, they're gonna get more than they bargained for. That's what I think. Because let alone the police, and the police have like armored Bearcats and armored vehicles, and armored Bearcats like an army vehicle compared to the Canadian army vehicle. I think we have 1 or 2 here, so I don't think that's going to go over so well for them. You know, America just simply has more guns and more people. I mean, I think there is something like 35 or 32 million Canadians, and compared to 300 some million Americans. So the math alone tells me that you're outnumbered and you're outgunned. I mean, they can even own an automatic weapon in America with a belt or a cannon. I've seen people that own cannons. So compared to Canada, with the weapons in their homes, if it's a rebellion, they have a lot of illegal weapons, but that's mostly like people connected to organized crime. I mean, some people might have some in their home that got one off a friend at work or something, but not as common. I love this little blue truck. This thing's so cool. Just needs to be redone. That's an older body Chevy, so they're much nicer vehicle. That's a 70s one. Isn't that nice? It'd be really nice when it's done. Who knows? We'll see if it's here after they take over. But it looks like, it's just about to happen, I think, really soon, where Canada gets 51st stated from Donald Trump and the Republican Party. I'm really thinking that, it may blow up into a war, and that may be interesting. Have a look, there's the mountains. It's beautiful land. So, my family are half American and half Canadian. So, I don't care, I'll be fine. No one's gonna kill me. I'm not gonna fight back. There's no reason why I'd want to. I mean, these people only beat me 65 times half to death. Said I can't date this, I can't date that, I can't. So, I've always dated at like hospitals and things like that, the girls that work there. So now they're like, you can't date a nurse, you can't date a doctor, you can't date a lawyer. And I'm a Legion member and I'm the crown of Canada, and someone's trying to limit who I date. Now my friend, who's white, who fucks black guys and has herpes from fucking them, she would say to you, if you told her that she couldn't have her black guy, fuck you. So I'm going to tell you the same thing, because that's what she said to say. And she was in a car accident. And you know what? She has a problem sometimes. She's a bit of a klepto because of her brain injury, where her skull was cracked in. And it's actually pushed in close to her brain. But she's still a very smart girl. And she's my best friend. And I hang out with her all the time. We smoke weed together. It's legal here. And I meet her every day at the CMHA for coffee. So she told me about how her boyfriend just gave her herpes. And I'm not going to say her name, but she's my best friend. He fucked her for 10 years after her car accident. And now she has herpes and has to be on a drug like Humira to calm the herpes down, because she gets raving inflammations. And you know what? He destroyed her for any other girl any other man when he did that, because he gave her herpes. So she can't have sex with me or anybody else, because if she does, she's going to give him herpes. And that is just not worth it to get herpes. But yeah, she's just my best friend in the whole world. And she went into a store and she picked up a piece of fruit, and with her mental health, she forgot to pay for it. And the storekeeper from the vegetable department beat her with security. And she actually was, when I first met this poor lady at the CMHA, where I go for my PTSD, she was in a wheelchair because of the car accident. And that was the first part of about 7 years that I knew her. She couldn't talk when she first was in the car accident, and she was in a wheelchair. Her whole left side of her body didn't work. And she is the most wonderful artist now that her brain is starting to heal with the help of the CMHA staff who've looked after her all this time, and the people in her group home that take care of her. But she has no money half the time because she's poor, because they take all her money for her care, because she needs special care in a home. But yes, I digress. My friend was so ill that it took her 7 years before she could talk. And now that she sits and talks with me and does her art on Tuesdays and things, she is a much more clairvoyant person and intelligent, and she's a wonderful friend. You understand? And they beat my friend for taking a piece of fruit, and her left side, where it had been paralyzed in the wheelchair, had a hole in her hand from falling on the gravel, where the security and the storekeeper beat her over a piece of fruit. She came to the center and she had tears in her eyes and everything, and the staff told me sometimes with her mental health she accidentally takes things. She doesn't mean to, she just does. And these people beat her. and she's handicapped. She was paralyzed on the left side. So they beat her, and that paralyzed arm is not working just as good as it was. And it's really a crying shame that store keepers would beat a handicapped person in this rich valley that has more than enough to share. And yeah, one piece of fruit beat a handicapped lady. So I'm not going to say which store did that, or I'm not even going to say her name, because I don't want someone to identify her. But my wonderful friend, that's what they did to her. It's not bad enough that she was in a car accident. The man she loves gives her herpes, and some piece of shit in the store decides a piece of fruit is enough to beat a handicapped woman and get away with it and not be marked a piece of shit by everybody else. Well, I'm here to tell you, buddy, whoever you were who did that, you're a piece of shit. That lady came out of a wheelchair, and her whole left side of her body was paralyzed, and she couldn't even speak for 7 years. And she's just getting well. You're a piece of shit for what you did. I'm sorry, buddy, but you belong in jail. So what? What is a greater crime? To starve a handicapped woman in the street, or for her to steal and take a piece of fruit to eat? You decide. You decide which is the greater crime that was committed there. To starve her to death because she had no money and she accidentally took something because she has a brain injury. Who was the bigger criminal? Who should be charged? The thief or the one that beat the handicapped person? Society should be outraged about this. This is an utter outrage when people beat her up over a piece of fruit that's worth about 45 cents. Hey, buddy, do you want 45 cents? I'll pay for it. Don't beat the lady.